All right.
Yeah.
All right. You know,
Fucking right.
hell yeah. Fucking
Yo,
right.
yo, yo, yo,
Fucking
yo, yo,
right,
yo,
right,
yo, yo.
right.
There he is.
We are live in effect.
In the words of Lil Wayne, hell yeah. Fucking right.
It's why.
How was your Memorial Day?
Oh man,
Tell the
I
truth.
did shroom chai tea.
How did that work
Ooh.
out? Wait, you made it.
I made shroom chai tea,
You made it.
and it was absolutely incredible.
Hold on, but you made it.
I made it. Yes, I
How
made
did you
it.
make it?
So I took the shrooms. I is it? Are you actually interested,
No,
or
I'm,
is
I'm,
it my
I'm
No,
perspective?
actually
I'm actually
interested.
interested too.
I'm actually interested.
Okay. So I took the shrooms and I crushed them up, put them in boiling water, put the chai tea in there. Then I did the whole back and forth so it could so none of the shrooms would still be in the water. And then I put almond milk in it,
All right,
let
we
it
get it.
cool,
Let's wrap it up.
and drank it. You see, Chris got all the jokes, man.
Let's wrap it up.
Chris got all the jokes. Chris got
Nah, it's
all
cool.
the
You can put it out
jokes.
on like a recipe. You can make like a Pinterest for it.
My man's when
We'll
we
add
ask
it.
him what his mathematics is, he'd be like,
Like,
"I
we
have
add
some
it.
fresh stilled ice cubes
Actually,
from Iceland."
actually,
Speaking of that, what's your mathematics, man? What's your mathematics this week?
Let me start early because mine is not that special. So basically, I tried to make a spicy margarita, grapefruit margarita, which
Okay.
sounds great, but I didn't have any limes. Instacart was full. I'm not going to the store, so I don't have the limes, so it's automatically not a margarita. I have agave, and I ran out of jalapenos, so it's not spicy, nor is it a margarita. Essentially, I got grapefruit and tequila, and that's it. I just got to get it out there, establish it early.
so yeah, I'm glad you did that because I have
Chris, welcome
more.
back.
I have yes, indeed.
Hey, Chris.
My name is Chris Patterson. I'm a full-time tour manager, and I also make cocktails made of kava. Those are limes down there that Jadena you don't have.
Huh.
There's also grapefruit, fresh squeezed. There's some fresh lime juice, some kava root, and ginger ice cubes.
All right.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Ginger ice cubes. That's what
Ginger ice
That's
cubes.
what you were saying.
That's what I was talking about.
Doing happy hour. All right.
So for me, I am drinking on whiskey, and I'm smoking on chocolate chip OG.
Chocolate chip OG and whiskey.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
It's a cocoa kind of time. I feel you.
Yeah. Cheers, beloved. Nice to see you again,
Hey,
Chris.
for real.
Haven't seen you in a
Salute.
Great
long
to have you
time.
back
Good
in
to
the
see
show,
y'all.
Chris.
Good to see
Good
y'all.
to have you
All
back on the
right.
show.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Oh man.
So today I'm hella excited because we have a very interesting and thought provoking book by an author, Dr. Seuss. The book is called "If I Ran the Zoo." It has been problematic in some circles, and others they've heralded Dr. Seuss as a legend in the children's book industry, and just as an author and as an illustrator. And we also have a fantastic guest, Josh Dean, or as he's affectionately known in
Yes,
the inner
sir.
Are you
circles,
supposed to announce the
Shimmy D.
guest?
Yo.
I didn't even want you on yet. I don't even. What are you
I
feeling?
mean,
Like you the guy
You said
that.
He
his
was like,
name,
voila.
nigga.
you said my name and
You said his whole name.
Oh
bro.
man, you know,
The block.
I just
That's how it
wanted to.
goes. That wasn't in the script.
No,
that was out of my
look,
control.
you
It
just
was
walked in the door. The door was unlocked. That's what I did.
It was
You know, you got
open.
the house party. The front door is unlocked. Somebody walks in.
Yeah,
Steve.
man. That's it. You
All
said my
right.
name and I appeared.
That was
Oh,
straight up
man.
magic.
I don't even-
Bro.
Straight
All
up
right.
magic.
Well, welcome. We're
Thanks,
still
man.
setting up. We're still setting up.
okay.
But grab a red cup. Grab what's your mathematics today?
My mathematics today, right now, bro. This is lemon Hennessy, honey lemon Hennessy,
Wow.
and I had some herbal
I like
libations
that.
as well.
I like a honey lemon and
Hold on,
Hennessy.
man. Hold on, man. You had a red cup backstage. What happened?
Dog, I had to switch it up. Y'all had
Man,
Yeah, I know
see,
I
that's what
have.
happened.
I know it
glasses, bro.
That
happened.
peer pressure.
You saw them ginger ice cubes, nigga.
But you know, I didn't see the ice cubes. You didn't say what kind of ice cubes they was, bro. I didn't know they was ginger.
Well, Josh, what I was trying to do before you rudely interrupted the party was give a little preview of what this Dr. Seuss book is about. So basically, this young bull, he's like he's going to the zoo, and he walks to the entrance, and he's like, damn, like it's dope that they got a zoo, but what if I ran the zoo? Nigga, like, what if I ruled the world? And he starts imagining all the amazing things that he would do, the animals that he would grab, what countries, a bunch of fictitious spots. But he does mention Africa by name.
Yeah.
But amidst the fantastical voyage that he's on, and what animals he bring back and encage in his zoo. And so the first quote I want to share, I actually want to do this shit like you know, like you guys are my children and I'm your father. So here's the quote of the week. He says, I'll capture them fat and capture them scrawny. I'll capture a scragglefoot mulligatawny, a high-stepping animal fast as the wind from the blistering sands of the desert of Zend. This beast is the beast that the brave chieftains ride when they want to go fast to find some place to hide. A mulligatawny is fine for my zoo, and so is a chieftain. I'll bring one back too. It's fucked up.
Speak on it.
Look at Yui. That's Yui.
Doctor, what the fuck? What that
That's
shit say, nigga? What? This is why this is here. What?
What do you mean? That's very Shakespearean of him. You know, Shakespeare
Man.
made up his own words.
That's the most Shakespearean,
I mean, amazing.
blatantly
imagination.
coded,
I will-
obvious language of all time. And
I
if you
will
read that
say-
shit as a kid, you don't fucking know that's what you're reading.
Exactly. No, not at all. That's bro. I read that.
And
book.
the baggiest of pants deserves to get the last. I'm like, what?
Yo, you know it'd be crazy. E40 reading Dr. Seuss and
Yo,
shit.
I would pay for that.
Nuts.
I'd
That
pay
was
for
A
that.
sick.
mulligatawny
Yeah.
from the
Like,
baggy
what?
face pants
The
of a
reefer
sideshow.
smoking, Timberland wearing. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that shit is crazy.
So
That shit is terrible, man.
I mean, the interesting thing is like he actually had an amazing imagination. He had some bars. He made up hella words in this book. He
Yeah.
supposedly he's been credited with inventing the word nerd in this. And if I ran a zoo,
Wow.
some people did
I
he.
didn't know that.
Some people say he invented crunk. Lil Jon has something else to say,
Yeah.
but I think the wild part about this book is just like when you're a child, like all is cool. You're reading Dr. Seuss, you're like, yo, this shit is amazing. I'm in this world. This is how the world feels. This is me. I'm at the center of the world. He's speaking to you.
Yeah.
But little do you know the subtle ideas that happen when you're reading a book, especially this book where I'm reading all these places mostly made up, and then I see him mention Africa. Here's the hallucinogens. I don't know that I'd say it's a good book. Yeah, we don't know either. But
I mean,
what
you know
I'm
what's
saying
funny?
is I think he as a writer, as a children's book writer, it was fun and engaging, right? There's nobody that you can't argue that.
You can't argue
What you
that,
can
no.
argue is that he has subliminal messages because he was a man of that era, and he put out some things that probably harm. I know I read this book when I was a kid, and I
Yeah.
probably, as a descendant of Africa, as a black or brown person in this side of the world, I probably looked at that shit like let's pull up the Africa.
But I say
piece
that,
so they
listen,
see
I
it.
think it's funny because
Look at I'll go to the African island of Yurka and bring back a tizzle top tufted mazurka, a kind of canary with quite a tall throat. His neck is so long, if he swallows an oat for breakfast the first day of April, they'll say it has to go down such a very long way that it gets to his stomach the 15th of May. And as clever as it is, look at the little Africans in the
Yeah.
bottom right side. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
come on, man.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this guy was notorious. The guy was notorious.
Yeah,
He's out here. He's out here. This guy is notoriety.
He was a notorious
Or he's a
racist.
notorious bigot. I mean, let's just call it facts. Can we pull up? Let's pull up. Just pull up Exhibit A. Brooklyn, pull up the Jim Crow John.
Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
What up, BK? Look at that.
So
I'll run democracy's war. You stay in your Jim Crow tanks. They got the Negro labor in the back, Jewish labor to the back of that, and of course,
you're saying that Dr. Seuss ate breakfast on this.
This is his one of his magnus opus. Bring the other one up. Bring the other one up, Brooklyn. Bring the other one up. Yeah, yeah. Take home a high grade nigga for your woodpile. Satisfaction.
Wow.
Look at the image.
Wow.
You're saying Dr.
That's your man.
Seuss.
Wow.
That's
You're
your
saying
man.
that you're saying that when you went into the
That's your
bathroom,
man.
you're saying that when you went into the bathroom to wash your hands, you looked up and you saw that on the wall. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
But here's the thing: the guy wasn't even like he didn't even like children.
He hated children.
He hated children.
Yo,
He couldn't
it's so
be around
funny.
them.
It's so funny that he wrote for the people that he despised.
Exactly.
He didn't want children. Dr. Seuss was just he was notorious. Actually, beyond being a bigot, a lot of the stuff that you read about these guys, you'd be like, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Like, I think, I guess it brings you to question as you get older, how many other like subliminal messages we kind of look over that are subtle, where I always say that, you know, race really is taught to you. Like race is really something that the concept of race is literally taught to us from kids.
Yeah, even the idea of this little white boy in this book, right, who's the central protagonist. I forgot old boy's name, but he's going out there and he thinks like, I'm gonna conquer the world, take shit from everywhere.
Yeah.
The first thing I read,
I thought about that. I was like, first off,
it's cool too. I'll take that nigga to the little Arab chieftain.
Absolutely. I was like, because how young is this little nigga? This little nigga is too young.
Like 9 or something.
Like, how does he know about all these countries already? Like,
exactly.
For me, it shows me like his parent put him on, was like,
I mean,
look. And like for real, like you got this book like a tutorial guide of colonization.
Absolutely.
100%.
Like dummies.
This is definitely colonial serial.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That kid is already a colonialist in training.
This is the white man's burden, bro.
But as
he's like a young recruit.
You're learning this. You're learning this as a child. It's like, even when I went back and I was high as shit one day and I looked back at Tom and Jerry and I was like, yo, you got it's the theory of like a fake ally. So like, to me, was Tom the cat or Jerry was the cat? Jerry was the cat.
Tom was the cat.
Tom was the cat, right? So like Tom had to it was basically protecting Jerry from the owner getting another cat or just fucking killing the mouse on itself. That makes sense. Like, does that make sense? Like, he basically had to.
So
Chris is not understanding this at all.
They were friends. They were friends. They were in on it together.
They had to show this kind of like hatred for each other in order for him basically to keep him alive. Basically,
that makes sense.
It's the chocolate chip OG. It's the chocolate chip.
No.
We feel you.
I feel you.
Just letting you speak, bro.
Yeah, man. We just giving you the floor, brother.
Let you get your point off, bro.
Holding space.
Hey, yo, chat room. Don't be calling me out. That was a meme that I saw recently.
I want to honor your passion,
your space. You know what I'm saying,
man?
We want you to live inside your fullest potential.
It was
I was just a side note. I was in shout out to Sheree and Tastemakers Africa. I was attending the thread, and none other than Madam Kateri was on there, and it was like a self-care chat room. And I realized in those chats, like, you can't really be funny. Like all the things I was thinking of, but I was like one of the only. I think I was the only guy in the room.
What was the joke?
So I had to represent.
But what was the joke?
No.
Everything.
You know the ethos of those kind of rooms You know what I'm saying?
Honor space.
It's honor the space. You know, there's stock phrases, key phrases.
Yeah.
Sage burning.
Everything is sacred. Every
Smudging
word.
Joke.
Every
in that
nigga's getting
space.
smudged on the
I had
way
a
in the
lot of
chat room.
jokes. I had a lot of just jokes.
Niggas is
This
getting
nigga walking from,
smudged
hey,
out.
what y'all in here healing?
Like, cause you know. Oh, y'all trying to get better? Y'all trying to get better? All right.
It'll never happen.
Wish y'all niggas luck with that. Oh, y'all take baths? Nigga, I'm a shower guy. I don't know about y'all niggas. You gonna zap your food? Wasting time and money, nigga. That's all I felt. Anyway, somebody said in the comments, Dr. Seuss is a Freemason.
Well,
I don't even understand the whole history. What are Freemasons? Tell me.
Jadena, you just watched the whole documentary.
Tell me when Freemasons were designed, what drinks they drank, what pillows they slept on.
Yeah, Freemasons are fraternal. There's a fraternity. They went underground because they were being persecuted. They didn't go underground because there's like, we want to be a secret world organ. They was like being persecuted at the time. At least this is the story they say. Okay. And they believe in private rituals that vary. But I know a lot of Freemasons. That doesn't really do anything. That doesn't like make or break a person. I got some good homies that are. So yeah, the fact that him being a mate, that doesn't like.
They're like one of the few groups that hasn't been exposed.
What do you mean?
Like, I think every other group, they've done documentaries on Hasidic Jews, like major documentaries on like Hasidic Jews. Like that shit was mind blowing to me. Like that shit was crazy. It was this one. It was one I was just recently watching. It was on Showtime, I think, and he decided to leave. He decided to no longer be a Hasidic Jew, and they fucking ostracized the shit out, ran down on him.
Wait, what did he become?
A regular guy.
Just regular.
There's a show about that called Unorthodox on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, but it's quite the opposite. I mean, I've only seen like some of an episode.
Because you know, there's like a Jewish mob. There's like a Hasidic Jewish.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You got a mob.
You got a mob, nigga. You didn't know. You ain't activated it yet. Clearly, nigga.
Yo, y'all be saying
you gotta put in your activation code, nigga.
I love when we do these because I'll be like, he'll say something, and I'll be like, man, everybody got that. Everybody got shotgun. You don't got a shotgun?
Yeah.
I cleaned my shotgun this morning. What you talking about?
Every day, B.
Hey, man.
Now I will say for that comment, having said that, what niggas don't know is that Dr. Seuss actually was in the military.
He was in the military.
He was in the army.
He was,
and he was hired and he was commissioned to actually make political cartoons.
Yes.
To change people's opinion about Japanese and the Nazis.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, Nana.
Yeah.
The importance of propaganda for children is something that is rarely ever emphasized.
Discussed. Ever.
How many conferences, and I won't name names or whatever, but how many conferences y'all been to that are speaking about the salvation of black and brown people, and not one of them have I ever been to did they have a section for children's books. And I remember the moment that I realized how important it was. I was in school, and I got the chance to study in this library that's the War Archives of the United States of America, called Hoover Tower. It's a long library. It looks like a big phallic, building in the middle of Stanford. It's the tallest building, but it also goes down in the basement. And this old lady librarian that was cool with me, I hope I'm not snitching on her right now. I love you for this, but she brought me down to the basement one time during a tour. She was like, "Come here, young man. I have something to show you." She showed me two things. One was a letter to Gandhi, from Gandhi to Hitler, trying to beg him to, ease up a bit, And Gandhi was trying to make a deal, to be honest, as he did. And Gandhi's another guy who's touted as a legend, but also has a lot of
a rampant
he's got the
rampant
racist. When the secret racist tells you to fall back and chill.
Yeah, he didn't want nobody.
Hey, yo, come on,
the DM. Basically, I saw a DM.
There's other ways to be racist, man. Like, goddamn.
The second thing I saw was a children's book that was made in the early 20s in Germany. This was before Hitler took office, and in this book, I couldn't believe it. All the heroes were blonde hair, blue eyed, and all the villains had longer noses and brown hair. and brown eyes, and they did this purposely before even Hitler was the horrendous leader that we know him to be. They
Yeah.
gave children's books when these kids were about 8 years old, knowing that by the time he took office, or the Nazi leader took office, and they voted for the chancellor, they would vote for the person who would speak about villains with brown hair and longer noses, and heroes who have blue hair and blonde eyes.
Wow.
So by those times where those kids were eligible to vote, they voted for Adolf Hitler. He didn't win immediately. He took office the second
They
round.
didn't even
But
realize
that's
they
how
had
that works.
already been
And how crazy
trained.
exactly? Like they think
vote?
they're picking Hitler,
That's
not realizing Hitler
crazy.
picked them when they were kids.
Wow.
And the funny thing, the moral of this story is like, nigga, if you're gonna lead a mass movement, your marketing and your branding better be better than Hitler.
Oh, got it.
Gotta be on point, man.
That nigga Brandon, yo, hold on. What's
For
the
all of
story?
you, please
Oh,
don't go.
oh,
What's the
this-
story with this? Yeah,
Oh,
please.
no,
Don't
it's
ever
like
always
this.
tell
Charlie
me
Chaplin
this.
joint.
Please.
Charlie
Yeah.
Chaplin joint.
Let
Yeah,
that
yeah.
No, it's true. It has to be. These niggas, they did horrible things with it, but they really mastered propaganda for that
absolutely.
time,
Exactly.
and that's what
Absolutely.
Nana's speaking to. Like one of the ways they made Hitler. He was just a drunk, failed painter that was in the bars talking shit, shooting the shit, and they're like, this dude's charismatic as fuck. And as a German, he speaks in a way that Germans understand. And so while they were building him, they branded him. And it was like, we want you to look like a legend for Germans. And the one thing, everything's good. You speak well, you look good, but we need to give you a makeover. And they asked him to shave his mustache on the sides right here, because they were like, there's a movie star in America named Charlie Chaplin.
Wow.
And we want you. And the ironic thing is, years later, Charlie Chaplin would then play Adolf Hitler in one of his foremost pieces. But that's how much they branded. So for us, like with our children, we have to look for to great examples, and then also examples of people that did negative things for planet Earth, and then extract that and see how can we control the narrative of our children. Because if we control it at the age of this little boy who thinks he can run the world because he runs a zoo, what can we do for our kids?
My dad used to always tell me that the images you see are the images you believe, basically. And he used to say that's why it was so important for him. He taught me that even from young, like, you control what you see. You control what you hear. You control, like, you have actual control over what you consume. And I was really, I'm happy that he taught me that young, back, during the time when you had to go to libraries, you know what I'm saying, and pick out the books. I would purposely go to look and see, okay, I need something that represents me, something that celebrates what's important to me, just to try to, I think my father was probably trying to teach me that to maneuver through, like, even if your curiosity, like, how to maneuver through the propaganda, basically, which is, it's just crazy that, like, even you think to Dr. Seuss and you're like, damn, you give somebody Dr. Seuss, a Dr. Seuss book to a kid, and that is teaching him some bullshit.
Yeah, I have a question about that, right? Two things you highlighted. One is critical thinking, right? And that's the first thing, period. You have to teach that to kids. But the second thing is really a question about Dr. Seuss and all people who make huge fouls and say things, maybe whether they be racist or xenophobic or whatever the case may be. People that do tremendous harm to humanity by what they say or what they do, can you forgive them if they make dope shit? I don't know. Josh, what do you feel about?
Can you forgive a motherfucker?
Okay, I like what you're saying, but you're super muted right now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
No, he's miming.
Okay.
Oh, he's miming. I forgot.
Chaplin.
Okay.
Oh,
more
Buster
magic.
Keaton.
No,
Got
I think there's I don't think it's necessarily right. I think there's purpose in what they would like, in perhaps what he's been able to like contribute to society. I don't think I don't think it's right to totally cancel him. Sometimes it's like How do you?
It's hard. It's the duality of life. It's duality.
Hey,
it's hard.
It's difficult for the
if
teachers
Seuss was
too,
popping? Do you think if Seuss was popping right now, that he'd be canceled by cancel culture?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Is Seuss white or black or brown or yellow, red? What is he? Because I think with black people, I think we cancel quicker than other people's. People of color. I'll say this. Let me expand it. People of color cancel quicker. I don't think if Seuss was white, he'd be.
I mean, obviously not though, bro.
Oh, you're saying okay.
Seuss would be fine. He'd be fine. 2 weeks apologies.
If Seuss was what?
White, if it as is. Like a European American.
Chief is saying that.
What is the nigga? White, isn't the nigga white? What the fuck?
He's saying that if he
obviously he's not canceled though, bro. He's like
when did the nigga not be white?
He probably 1/8. He probably 1/8.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
No,
right.
But basically what he's saying is that because of him being white, he's not getting canceled overall. Only black people would probably be canceling.
Not only, but I'm saying people of color more so. Yeah. And definitely my experience.
Well, look, like for instance, like he attacked two people. He attacked two people. He attacked black people and he attacked Japanese people.
Yeah.
The question is, do Japanese? I don't know. Maybe do the Japanese have cancel culture?
And Jewish people.
And Jewish.
Which you said, do the Japanese have cancel culture? You would never hear about it.
Maybe we're not in the right chat rooms.
Yeah, no. You don't know that. You don't know that.
I'm telling you that we would.
Are you speaking on behalf? Oh, what do you mean we would never hear about it?
Never hear it coming in.
I don't know, bro. I don't. You know what?
I'm looking at you, and something's making me think that you're just not the certified.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've been to Japan. I'm telling you, the way they operate.
That ain't enough. That ain't enough.
That ain't enough.
Bro, 4 years with you is dedicated to his friends, bro.
Niggas, I don't care if you've been there.
You know what I'm saying? White person get up here and be like, I've been to Africa, man. I don't know about that.
A lot of people say that. Yeah, I've been somewhere.
Don't go to, throw that card away.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you would never hear about it.
Nah, I think you would. I think that's changed. I think the Asian American culture at large is changing completely right now.
Exactly. Think about how many cultures have tapped in the Japanese like imagery and like archetypes and made their music videos where they doing all types of martial arts and shit. They get tapped for so much shit. You don't think they got an opinion?
I'm telling you right now. The Japanese.
You know the funniest thing?
If you don't give a damn, we don't give a fuck. That's the Japanese right there.
No, you know the funniest thing? This shit also happens within like different groups of people, right? So like within people of African descent, it's the same kind of thing happens like East African West. Asians cancel their own kids if they don't do what they want them to do. Says Mercy Chanel.
That's kind of as African parents too.
That is we get it.
Americans,
Black Americans.
You know how many times I got disowned, nigga? Like that's a normal.
I was told I was sat down at a table and asked when was I moving out at 13.
Yeah.
That was a real conversation. Like, yo, you're 13 now.
That's what happens, man. They see
when that moving out.
They see that utility bill spike up for like a season. Like we gotta have to talk with them.
I said, yo, I'll unplug the lamp. Like, damn, if you don't like shit. I won't play the game past 10 o'clock. If it's running up the bill this
morning. Bro, the thermostat was a warfield and it was a landmine. You know what I mean? It was a 67, bro.
Yeah.
67 in the winter. I was like, that ain't enough.
You know how many sweaters I had to wear in the winter? Hey, yo, Josh, question for you. As a musician, as an artist, did you cancel Doja Cat?
Did I cancel Doja Cat?
Yeah.
Bro, to be honest, man, I never really was like the biggest Doja Cat. I mean, I love her music. I think she's talented.
Hold on. Do you love her music?
I mean, she got some great. I think she got a few great songs.
Bro. You
I
love
her music.
Are you in love?
Love is a strong word.
Hey, Josh, don't come up here and spread no propaganda. Don't
spread no propaganda. No more propaganda.
Yeah, go ahead, give it. What? Yeah. How you feel?
I mean, no, I was never really totally in love with her music. I mean, she was never really. Did I cancel her? I can't say she was ever really like that active in my.
But you didn't care enough to cancel.
I didn't care enough. Yeah,
like she wasn't cancel eligible for you.
She was.
No, they asked you to do the remix.
She was NA.
It's her #1 record right now. They got the bag waiting for you. Ooh. They got the trip already scheduled. You already have all the hot stones. They have all the masseuses there waiting for you to come.
Oh boy.
How many?
Right now, bro. Nah, right now I can't.
I'll say this, man. I'll say there's it's tough with not just her. I'm bringing this to a much larger conversation around artists, activists, leaders, whatever. There's a whole list of people, man, that be on the cancellation list. And somebody said, for Seuss, he won't be canceled because he's white. With Doja, she's South African, and I forgot the other mixture, but I know a mixture of different European countries. And then there's a variety of activists that I know have been canceled as well. I think that what we have to decide is like how much somebody can grow. And I'm not saying this specifically for Doja at all. Yeah. That I was actually shocked to see everything I saw this last week personally, and disappointed. And that's from an artist to artist. But can somebody like her and other people, do we give them the freedom to grow from their mistakes, or are we going to stone and crucify everybody? And maybe there's some times that we need to. Maybe there's some times where it's fuck you. Niggas, I will never fuck with you ever again.
Growth stopped.
You know what I mean?
Once Twitter was in 2009. Like after 2009, like if you make a mistake, you can never grow from that mistake ever. I don't even think.
I think, bro.
I'm saying publicly. I'm saying that that's the propaganda.
You're saying that's the issue.
That's the issue. That's the propaganda.
You're saying that's the issue.
That's the propaganda. That's the idea. Is that you can no longer grow.
That's what about motherfuckers that are not going to change or who have been that way? Like that's how you are.
That's my point, right? It's like because everyone has the whole is cancel culture toxic and is it dismissive and does it allow people to grow conversation? Cancel culture, I defend cancel culture. I'm a cancel culture advocate because and the reason is this. Cancel culture is no different. What was that? What's that? Remember what era is that where they had the hangman? What era is that?
Oh yeah, from 90s and back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
At the Apollo Theater, but all the way back to the 30s.
Not Hangman.
Hangman.
Your immigrant popped out. Your immigrant popped out.
I know Hangman. At the Apollo.
I'm talking about like medieval time when that Shakespeare nigga was popping. And they had the hangman, right? Okay. People keep trying to make cancel culture seem like we're taking people to the guillotine. That's not what we're doing. Cancel culture is taking a nigga to the public square, putting some tar and feather on that nigga and flogging him in public. That's all it is.
It's a little bit more than that. Like people are losing their jobs, their careers.
Yeah, okay, listen.
That have nothing to do with
your whole life.
Because of that.
Wait, hold on. Wait, let me just answer real quick.
Let me finish my point.
That have nothing to do with the actual incident. So the incident is separate from that person's life.
That's not facts.
You think so?
I'll give you a perfect example.
I'm believing separate.
Okay.
But I won't defend cancel culture all the way, but I don't believe
I can't defend it all the way.
Look, I'm not 1,000. I'm not a 1,000.
You sound like 1,000.
No, I think it's important. I think it's important because let me tell you why it's important. I'll give you this. Central Park Karen. Central Park Karen right now. If it was not for Twitter and Instagram, she would still have a full-time paying job. Not only that, even worse, she would be looking for the next opportunity to do that to the next black man.
Yeah,
she'd be on a killing spree.
Right.
Because she literally activated her little white privilege and tapped into a systematic system that would actually kill black men for her.
Absolutely.
When you watch that video, she wasn't afraid, bro. She wasn't afraid. Bro, all that fake fear in her voice was performative.
You know what I will agree with? Do y'all think that cancel culture is new?
I don't think they would have canceled her had that dog.
No, it's not new. Because that's why I didn't understand.
No, it's not. It's ancient. It's
ancient. It's been here.
Yeah, it's ancient. Which now here's the thing, right? So the criticism of it is like, to your guys' point, right? Is it dismissive?
Just don't cancel me over some shit that I tweeted when I was 21 years old.
Is it dismissive? But to me, I'm like, you got to create a moment. You got to create a moment for someone to actually choose how they're going to be moving forward.
Okay, I asked you a question, Nana.
Creating moments.
Nana,
do you feel like Dr. Seuss created that moment?
I asked you.
Do you feel like Dr. Seuss created that moment?
Created what moment?
The moment for him for people to forgive what he did or like to right his wrongs in a way.
No, he didn't. I don't think he ever thought he was wrong.
And that's the thing. Some people aren't gonna. It's not gonna like whatever cancel culture comes to cancel them is not gonna change them, and that's cool. Like actually, to be honest, I actually like to know. Like if you a staunch racist, if you a staunch racist, I like to know that you a staunch racist.
Yeah, you know me. I've always respected that more.
Flag. Exactly.
To be honest,
that's why Malcolm X met with the KKK. It wasn't because he was siding with them.
Exactly.
He was just like, look, at least we can see eye to eye on the fact that we don't see eye to eye.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's a question.
Has anyone come back from being canceled?
Yeah.
Yes, bro.
People are still coming back.
The niggas come back. You know how many times brands come back from cancel culture? Niggas was canceling Gucci.
We canceled everything that
niggas canceled H&M.
Gucci right back.
The same niggas that canceled Gucci are wearing Gucci face masks right now.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, these brands know that shit. Hey, Brooklyn, you got that clip? That clip. You know
Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
Brooklyn, let's play that video clip of the selling to the Negro clip.
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off brands. Do you wonder why? Well, listen to what this customer is thinking.
That last hat I bought just didn't hold up at all.
You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying.
Yeah, I mean, like, niggas made a tutorial video for brands in the 50s to be like, yo, you want to sell to black people? Black people been disenfranchised their whole life. All they want is something they can put on.
Value.
Feel value.
I remember when I had a this is when I discovered that, and I'm just gonna say this. I'm not gonna say the brands because I'm not gonna do that. But I remember when I had a hashtag that had went viral, and the hashtag was specifically geared towards black people. And a friend of mine's out of nowhere, probably like a year later, was like, yo, do you know that they are doing private conferences and they're using your tweets? And I was like, huh? I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh yeah, well, they do these private like displays and they pull stuff. It's marketing meetings. 99% of the people in the room are all not black. And they pull tweets from black Twitter. They pull tweets, they pull popular things. And then they literally basically have a brainstorm session about how to market based off of this. I said, I could not believe it. They screenshotted it for me. I said, this is crazy. Like, they actually took a picture of it for me. Then I realized that it happened three or four more times. And these are huge brands that they literally, they go on Twitter. They use Twitter as literally experiment to do exactly what that video just showed. Yeah, exactly what that video just showed. That's what all that is crazy.
Yeah, every
all the brands are doing
the
that.
things that you want, that you think you want, like you crave.
Yeah.
A lot have been put in your mind.
Yeah.
And I think now looking back at how it was, I don't know when that video was for, the 60s. It looks like late. Okay,
is that Century of the Self?
No, that's the it's called The Secret of Selling the Negro.
Wow.
Wow,
and it was financed. It was made by the Johnson Company, which is the
Johnson
owner
Johnson.
of is the owner of Ebony Magazine, and so
Oh,
they used Ebony Magazine to they I'll let
wow.
What?
Oh, blackface.
I'll let you think.
Got it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? This is what I
Wow.
take from that, and in our generation, and I want to credit you, Yui, for expanding my ideas around this. I remember we were in Thanksgiving, and as Whipper Wiley says, Jadena wearing Adu clothing right now. Shout out to Papa Adu right now. Go
Shout out
get
to
yours.
Papa Adu.
Buy black.
All the black brands. All the black
The
brands.
reason why we do that is because we don't do it enough compared to other people. So if you don't consider yourself black and you're in the comments, know that for our story, we don't do it enough, and therefore we value other people, foreigners, clothing on us, foreigners products, foreigners drinks. Shout out to Jay-Z for the drinks that he's given to us. Shout out to Yui for this specific idea, which was investing in black businesses on Black Friday. That changed me because we just kept doing that on Fridays. Just wearing
it was amazing.
Products. Honestly, it should be 7 days a week. This doesn't mean you don't partake in other people's business. We want the world to be great, but we don't do it enough. So that's why we value other people's. The real value is in us having the power of investing in ourselves, man, and that's
why that was so important. And I appreciate you, Chief, and Nana. He jumped right into it, like, you know what I mean. You jumped right into it as well. Like, I appreciated y'all. It was really just a random day for me where I realized I'm like, yo, I'm spending all this money for Black Friday and doing all these discounts. I said, yo, why don't I just buy from my own? Why don't I just start buying from my own? It was like 2000 and I want to say 14 or 15, and I just put up a post and I was like, look. For Black Friday, I only want to purchase from black brands. So many people responded. And then, so I was like, yo, all we have to do is just put it out there. Like there, you know what I'm saying? Like the quality is there. The clothing is there. Look at Papa Adu stuff is quality. You know what I'm saying? The things that you guys have introduced me to, this is quality clothing, and it exists. So why not support each other?
Absolute.
It's amazing.
Absolute, man. I want to go back to this Doja thing. I think there's more to unpack here.
Ouch.
Yeah, Yui's unpacking right now.
Tell me you guys just saw that. Tell me you guys just saw that.
Was that? I hope that was your drink. That's what my hope.
That was my drink.
I love it.
No, that's great. That's where you need to be on Lit Review.
Hey, make sure you don't step on the glass.
Yeah, be careful, bro.
Hey, y'all, that's live.
That's live.
Hey, it's real.
Almost cut my damn hand off. Okay, listen.
What
was y'all saying?
The thing about the thing about the Doja thing that's hard for me to like when you talk about forgiveness. I'm just not in the forgiveness.
Doja Cat, no forgiveness for Doja.
Not yet. And she might evolve. Who knows? She might be like, fuck it, like this is who I am. I'm just gonna rock out. That's cool.
Pretty much. That's what her apology was.
I thought that apology was really hard to listen to. I couldn't even do it. But
I didn't see it.
I
gotta hit her up, man. That's what I realized. I'm gonna hit her up. That's the thing I want in these situations. Fuck just talking about. We gotta hit her up.
Yeah, talk to her. The thing that's hard for me with that situation is that when you look at the chat room, right? All the other people in that chat room, those are white South Africans, right? And some of them are Afrikaans. Now we've spent a lot of time in South Africa. Being American, we know racism. I've never experienced anything.
Bro, they were white South Africans, bro.
Yes. I've never experienced anything. I've never experienced anything.
White South Africans get
like
down.
Afrikaans. The Afrikaans racism is like a different breed. Like it makes like white.
The way they get down.
It makes like white Southern American racism look like
nothing.
Like the NBDL.
Dog, we was happy to come back to America and deal with.
We looked at white people in America different.
Yeah. White South Africans don't give a flip.
Well, racist. I'm not all white South Africans. Like racist.
Not all I'm saying, but like the racist ones, it's a completely different experience.
The only thing worse, like in terms of racism, that we've ever experienced in terms of white like Afrikaans,
Namibia,
is German Namibians.
Yes.
Oh shit.
And people don't know this about Namibia.
That sounds like a goddamn villain.
It's a different. So they.
Who's coming to invade us? German
Namibians. Yo, definitely on some real shit. That's the high. That's like the
Black
height
Panther 2.
Yeah, it's different. It's literally it's the boss. Like when you're in Mario and you play the underboss, like the boss. of racism, that's them, bro. And you know why? Because people don't know this. There's a documentary about this called 100 Years of Silence where everything that you saw in the Holocaust, everything, the concentration camps, the strategies, all that was actually perfected off an experiment they did in Namibia. They tested the Holocaust in Namibia first.
God damn.
And then went to go do that to the Jews. So
that's
like,
how you know.
That's how you know the level. And so like if there was like a race, if there's like a racism Olympics, German Namibians every year.
Oh yeah, if Chappelle's show was still here and they did
Exactly.
like a racist Olympics. And to
Exactly.
be clear, we're talking
Rest in
about
peace to all
people
people.
that have been like people whose culture have been racist. We're specifically talking about racist people in these
In the
areas.
culture, yeah, of course.
Yeah, because not just
Not
you
all.
know,
Not everybody,
we may
not
you
all.
may be angry at a group of people, but know that not all South African. We have plenty of good people that we know like that have.
Yeah,
held us
not all,
down.
not all. South Africans in the chat room, like, yo.
Yeah.
He like-
but for
Not
real, yeah.
all.
Like it's a real conversation. And so for me, when you in the chat room, actually Brooklyn, can we bring up that photo? Let's bring up that Doja. You know what I'm saying? Look at when you in the chat room,
Oh
you know what I'm
man,
saying, and you busting it down for bigots.
Crazy.
Like look at Wesley's face.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Look at Wesley.
yo, just so we know, right?
Look at Wesley.
Doja's mixed. She would be considered in the ebony space. Ebony porn is one of the largest watched porn in the world.
Did y'all see
Period.
Wesley's face?
So Wesley's face, Wesley found her by Googling that somehow, and he landed in this chat room.
like you
God
see,
damn.
you're like I gotta assume that racists got some cool motherfuckers in there. You know what I'm saying? Like you just gotta assume, like, you know how like Republicans aren't really good at like comedy in the way that Democrats are, right? But like over time they get better and they start like recruiting and like, oh, okay, cool. We learn how to actually be funny as Republicans. When you look at that photo, bring that photo back up. Look at Wesley.
Come on, man. I don't even.
Yeah,
Yo,
this is,
look at Wesley.
Oh.
Wesley, she busting it down for Wesley. Wesley don't even look like a seasoned racist, too. He looked like a racist, like cadet.
Wesley got a stud in his
training.
left ear, by the way. Have you seen Wesley's
definitely got
stud? He's a
the
little
stud,
alternative. He's a little alternative.
He's a newbie. He's a
Wesley
newbie. He's a freshman year. He's a freshman year racist.
You see
know what I'm saying?
Juju on the bottom left. He's definitely he's a mixed gentleman or a colored gentleman.
You wasted
and he
Doja.
can't figure it out whether he's
Doja, you
He doesn't know where to
he
land.
doesn't know how he feels.
Whereas Wesley looked like a
Doja,
junior
come back.
ROTC racist.
Come back, Doja. Doja, come back. Wesley and
He
them
looked
don't
like
love
he
you.
just got introduced to racism.
They don't love you, Wesley.
They gave him "If I Ran the Zoo Late." That's what Wesley looked like.
Doja, Wesley don't love you.
Doja, they don't love
Come
you.
back.
Oh
Come
Lord,
back to us,
man.
Doja.
No, yeah, I'm gonna chop it up because it's I do believe like I'm not on the same side of as you, Nana, as far as how far you believe in cancel culture. I'm not gonna ride for it. I will say this though. I think it's needed. I think when people
That's
talk
fine,
about
man.
shaming, this is the
Yeah,
thing.
that's
I be in some of these motherfucking chat rooms when people talking about shaming and like shame culture. I'm like, I'm not mad. I like shame.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
you need a
shame.
certain amount of it.
Guilt culture is terrible.
Sometimes
Shame is
it
different.
goes way
Yeah.
too far.
Guilt, well, I'm saying here, let me distinguish. Guilt is when you force a person to hold on to some sort of
Yeah.
quote unquote sin they committed
Mhm.
for a long extended period of time, and they're not allowed access to the world.
Mhm.
Shame is a temporary punishment and tapping on the finger
Yes.
and a backhanded bitch slap to make you know that shit is not fucking cool. But if you change, you can come back in. That's the difference between shame and guilt.
Mhm.
I fuck with shame culture. I don't fuck with guilt culture.
Mhm.
Neither of them are new. And guilt culture is the foundation of debt culture, which we are all in on this side of the world, thanks to credit and debt.
Yeah.
And then and shame culture is something that traditional societies do. So I think it's all right to shame a friend, even if it's an artist. If I do some fuck shit,
Yeah, I'm about to ask you guys. I'm about to say, you guys
when you
as artists,
shame
you guys
me,
as artists, how do you guys feel about that?
I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
Just don't write me off forever.
bro.
Like
Absolutely.
if I fuck up, all right, cool. Let me talk about
Yeah,
it.
like
Give me
take
the chance.
that on the chin. Like if
Deserve
if somebody fuck
You
up,
have to know the
And
risk.
confront it. Confront
your
it. Don't
big
run from
boy
it.
or your
Don't
big
run
girl
from it.
pants
Confront it.
on. Let somebody make them like on some, even in your friend circle. When your homies fuck up, sometimes you gotta check niggas and be like, yo, bro, like on some real shit, that was fucked up.
That was fucked up. Yeah.
On some real shit. And to be honest, what they choose to do at that moment is up to them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like some people are gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna continue to be that nigga. And cool. But at least we had a moment where you had to make a choice at a crossroad and be like, am I gonna go this way or am I gonna go this way?
And that's why I will give the
That's
credit to there were, more than a few, white people who realized the negativity and some of the bigotry that was in his books. And they pulled his books.
Yeah,
they pulled Dr. Seuss's books. The National Education Association, they were like, look, unfortunately, this we can't do these type of books. But I want to ask you guys though this question. This is a devil advocate question. They pulled the books, and then some of the teachers were complaining, saying that if you pull the books, it actually does more harm than having the books there without someone to teach them that this type of level of propaganda and bigotry and things exist, that you are doing more harm by removing the text than keeping it there. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Agree. I mean,
That's a good question.
in some ways, in some ways I agree with that. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like if they remove the books, that child is going to still experience that one way or the other. They're going to have to deal with it. So I think if you remove the book, it's kind of like, why would you not have this difficult conversation that your child is going to someday have to, you're going to have it with your child at some point.
Josh, I have no idea if you have a child or not, or if you are one or not. As young as you look, would you give your children a Dr. Seuss book? Is my final question.
With precautions and at a certain age.
Precautions.
With precaution and at a certain age. Somebody is gonna give them a Dr. Seuss book. Whether they see that book at school, whether they see that book with me.
Nigga acting like it's a gateway drug.
I mean, bro, with precautions.
Hey, yo, son. Hey, yo, Scotty, come over later, yo. Hey, yo, come over later, yo. I got that for you, son. Hey, yo, look under the bed. Yo, I got that Dr. Seuss for you, son. Don't even. Yo, what you thought? Yo, what you thought it was gonna be weed in it? No, come on, man. Fucking play around here, nigga. You know how we do. If I ran the zoo, son. Josh, that's funny as shit. I'm sorry, Josh.
It's true.
He said they're going to find Dr. Seuss.
Find out, bro.
Somewhere.
Somebody's gonna get
Imagine Josh busting into the room. You got Dr. Seuss in this motherfucker?
Oh yeah, we gotta talk. Which one is it?
Talk to him, Josh.
Which one is it?
Oh my god.
What is it?
Oh, he going right up to the school. Who the fuck gave my kid Dr. Seuss?
I mean, bro, do you think parents not think about? I mean, I don't know. I don't think my parents thought about that.
It's funny,
I don't think my parents thought about
that. I just became a dad, and this is the first time that I've actually been thinking of, I literally don't control all the information that she might see and develop at all. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, the only thing I could do is ask her if you ever have a question or if anything ever if you ever receive any information, run it through the dad filter. You know what I'm saying? I'll explain it to you. I'll give you
the dad filter. We'll see how long that lasts, brother.
I know.
But here, I got another idea. Let's
not gonna last, but I'm gonna try.
Anybody in the chat? We setting up prize money for somebody that will jack Dr. Seuss's illustrated style because the shit is fire.
I have $1
and make our own motherfucking version.
You said like we didn't talk about no budget.
No.
We didn't talk about that in pre-production.
It's a pandemic.
Any conversations about a contest or a pool or none of that. We didn't talk about any of that. I got $1 for y'all. $1.
Hey, and well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you, Josh Dean, for your time, man, for your presence, for your perspective on Dr. Seussian theory and theology, bro. Hold on. Who's on your shirt?
Oh, it's a Super Bowl, man. It's a Super Bowl.
Oh, okay, I thought that was a New England Patriots.
Josh, tell the people where they can find you at, bro. Tell the people where they can find you at.
I'm on Instagram, Josh Dean, JoshDean, Twitter, JRD. Dear Black Sheep is
Does anybody ever listen to this part?
I never type it in
I
when
never
I hear
listen.
this.
I hear this.
I never type it in.
Yeah, I mean nobody ever types it in. I never type it in. Either.
Yo, the chat room gonna hold you down. They're gonna type
They
it
gonna
in.
hold me down.
Chat room gonna hold you down.
Ibak Muhammad said Josh Dean is a dope artist, man. Just so y'all know, this guy has one of the voices, the best voices of our generation.
Amazing.
Tenors like him only come in time.
Absolutely.
So often, and in our time is rare, yo. So
Yes.
Josh Dean, if you haven't, you will see him.
What's that Olympic sport where the niggas got the javelin, the long stick, and they jump over that high?
The high jump?
The javelin.
I think it's called the javelin.
It's called the javelin.
Nah, pole vault, nigga.
Pole vault.
Oh yeah, okay.
Is one of the greatest musical pole vaulters I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that, bro. Thanks so much.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, Josh.
Thank y'all for having me, bro. Peace, man.
All right,
bless. I just want to say this about Seuss, man. Real nigga shit. This nigga wasn't even a doctor, nigga.
Oh, this nigga just made that shit up. That was propaganda.
No, this nigga what he's master of propaganda. His dad wanted him to be a doctor, so he just added it as his.
No, come on, son.
On some real shit. Now, like, listen. You know how many African niggas dads want them to be
doctors?
No,
we would never do this shit.
You know how many African niggas dads want them to be doctors? Hey,
my God.
No, that's some real privilege shit on some real shit. Like,
that's real white privilege.
That's real white
is.
privilege.
The only black or brown people that do that shit are Hotep. Exactly, Hotep.
And to be honest, to be honest, if they gonna let Dr. Seuss be a doctor, hey, Brooklyn, run this clip. Brooklyn, run that clip with my man from Philly.
Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.
Investigation. The National Basketball Association is a suspect in Dr. Umar's investigation. That's right. The goddamn NBA is a suspect.
Yo, cut it.
As soon as I said that, my
if they gonna let this Dr. Seuss nigga rock with that title, let my man Umar rock with his title, dog. Let him rock with his title. We deserve it. Y'all, we gave y'all Seuss.
All it takes is a little pinch of whiteness to create a coon. That's what he says.
Oh my God.
Donations.
Bro, you know the Hotep Association of the World went against me when I was talking about pre-colonial African homosexuality. Them niggas came for me, nigga. They stopped me in the street. I got DMs, I got comments. I mean, he didn't say nothing, but that shit is funny as fuck. But here's the thing: I always be looking at like people like him, like, man, you actually have so much passion, and if channeled correctly, you could actually change the entire motherfucking world if need be. But when I see this, I'm like, yeah, I feel you. If Dr. Seuss is a doctor, I'm like, all right, bro, let the man have his investigation.
You said you had prize money for a black version. Dr. Umar is the black version of Dr. Seuss. Make sure I teach my kids that. Both of this shit is propaganda.
Yo, what do y'all feel like? It's a side note because I was looking at Dr. Umar, wondering if he'd ever been on a safari, because I'm like, would he be so anti Dr. Seuss that he's like, man, fuck that? Or are safaris actually better versions of zoos, and he'd be pro safaris?
Yeah, I'll say safaris are definitely a better. I mean, the niggas are running around like having the time of their life to a degree.
So, animals actually have a better. They have
fucking rifles and shotguns.
They're not. Well, those are illegal. But I'm saying when they're like really strict game parks, they're just running around. They actually have more land.
They got animal rights.
They
got animal rights.
We collectively don't have as much land as them little fucking lions.
No, I'm saying no. So I'm asking the question though. Y'all been on safaris, right?
Yes.
You saying they could just run down up on you though?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean technically, like I almost got stampeded
Oh
by zebra.
God. Bringing Tandiwe says safaris allow animals to live like they're supposed to.
Yeah,
Yui has never been on one. He's gonna
Never been
come
on one.
as soon as the airports are open and we go to the continent. We'll go to either east, south, or west.
I will go on
Africa.
my first safari trip with these guys, and I'm sure they're going to try to make it the scariest.
Bro.
I've
Let me
ever
tell you,
had
the
in
last
my
one I
life.
went on, I was in Uganda, and I was staying at the Safari
Get
Lodge.
out of my fear.
I was staying at the I was staying at the Nile Safari Lodge, and I went on a game park, and I got to ride a dirt bike. Shout out to Maxime, who taught me how to ride a bike. But when we rode out, and I didn't know like I was leaving the safe zone, and so we ended up in the middle of the motherfucking safari on a bike, bro. Yui. Just on the bike. And then when we got back, he was like, yeah, the last time we were there, lions ate somebody.
I to be honest, I appreciate those kind of trips.
Late.
When somebody doesn't tell you the danger.
Me too. After.
And then they're like, by the way, that happened to me. That happened to me jet skiing in the Bermuda Triangle.
Well, I say this. Luckily, you guys just told me all the danger. So I
think he was just joking.
I don't think Nana was joking.
Yeah, no, the guy was just joking. Everybody's good. Nobody gets eaten. You should definitely come. I went on a hike with you.
There's gotta be no.
No. Yui went on a hike. Wait. We went to.
It's gotta be a couple cakes.
Nobody gets eaten. He said, nah.
I don't know about that.
I'm sorry. If you running a safari for 100 years and you got a percentage
Somebody's
of 0%, come on, bro.
Yeah, somebody's getting
like even if it's actually 0%, just lie to me and tell me it's 2. So I believe
exactly. Because if you have 0%, you're either drugging the animals or you're making them read Dr. Seuss. One or the other. There's a gateway drug involved. There's no way you get to zero.
Someone dropped off the
That's hilarious. They said if you die in a safari, that's natural selection.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Was meant to happen. That was my destiny.
We in their territory. Jacqueline says, be ready for them to roll up on you.
That ass.
This is our version of Dr. Seuss if I ran the zoo. You see the way we're describing this shit?
That's an honorable death.
Somebody gonna die.
That's an honorable death. Because there's some ways that I just don't want to go out. You know what I'm saying? Like I read an article one time of like a man was driving on the highway and a Canadian goose flew through his windshield and killed him. And I was just like, you can't tell your kids that. You can't what kind of legacy is that? Now, if you in a safari, you know what I'm saying? And a lion. But like, granted, I'm gonna have a clause in my will that like tells them how to describe my death.
Oh my God!
So, like, if I'm in a safari, like they gotta say like I put up a good fight. Like,
I have an odd hope for you. I don't know if I should be saying this.
Why was the goose? What was the goose flying that low?
What did you survive?
I'm just trying to understand, nigga. What?
Hold on, you.
Y'all not gonna just skip over that. Y'all are skipping over him saying that a Canadian geese flew through the windshield and killed him.
Look at what she said. Ella Sequay. Canadian geese are hella aggressive, dog.
She knows. He was in the wrong territory, nigga. He was on the wrong block, nigga.
Hey, listen.
Go ahead. What's the wish? What?
No, my wish for you actually is, I don't know if this is wrong, bro. This might be universally, I'm fucking up the ancestral realm, but when I think about you, I actually think you want to go out on some like night warrior, doing explorer, Blaze of Glory. This motherfucker, I'm gonna tell the seal story, the sea lion story. I will say on the safari though, Yui, I'm out there. I don't know if we was in Kenya, South Africa, nigga. We out there. So in the middle of the safari, you get a chance to like chill. You love this, Yui. Like we pull over the Jeep, roll up a little spliffy, get a couple beers. You know what I'm saying? Might have a little tequila on the side. You know what I mean? Pull up a little light snack. You know what I'm saying? Little hors d'oeuvres and shit. Okay. We're kicking it right in the middle of this. I'm chilling. Right. All of a sudden, I look over. Is it you and George? Who is it? I don't know. None of
Oh, it's me and George, bro.
it's him and motherfucking George 2.0. They're like they've been walking, talking. I don't know, brother bonding. I don't know, right?
Mhm.
They're having a good conversation, but they've been walking for a while. When I turn around, bro, they're like damn near a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile away. Because we have a little space on the savannah. We're kind of chilling.
He
But
said
we've been
Nana
drinking.
and George
Yes,
have
we've been
ran
drinking.
the opposite.
We've been drinking and smoking. They just been talking, not noticing, bro. And so I joke out and I'm like, yo, watch out. And they turn around laughing at me, nigga. Like, just like, haha. And I was joking at first, then behind them, bro. I swear
Now,
to God.
now, mind you, we turned around to face
To
Jadena.
face me, laughing, like, haha,
Wait,
good
but why
joke.
did y'all
Wait.
go so far?
Hold on,
away?
hold on.
No, they didn't know. They didn't know. They were just chilling,
Oh,
talking.
they're just walking. They're just chilling. Okay.
But they're both explorer, like I'm gonna push it to the limit
They are the
people.
type of niggas.
So in general, they going far. So they go and then as they turn around laughing, bro.
To look
These-
at Jadena. Mind
These
you, we're now
enormous
facing Jadena.
beasts, 3 enormous beasts, zoom past like the pathway that they're on behind them, like through from the jungle through the little dirt road to the other side of the bush.
And you see,
And I'm like, yo, and they turn around and like, oh fuck, dog. And that's when I know I'm like, yo, this nigga Nana might go out in a wildebeest's mouth, a sea lion's claws.
Blaze of
He
glory.
might be on the moon trying to
I'm
skydive.
gonna go out like
moon
Steve
dive.
Irwin. I'm gonna go out like Steve Irwin.
He went out like a G. That's the best way to
Yeah,
go
I'm
out.
gonna go out. I'm gonna go down.
Fuck this nigga
I'm
up.
gonna go down fighting 1/4 of the animal kingdom. That's gonna be my legacy, and they're gonna tell my grandkids your father.
They
was
did a
poor.
zoom view of Steve Irwin when he passed, and the stingray was through his chest, and he was like,
Wow.
like the Joker, nigga.
Fuck with that nigga.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm never going to safari. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to Yusuf getting scared the fuck away from ever going to a safari.
No, we're gonna get you to a safari, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
I don't
This
know
is-
how many chocolate OG Jones you're gonna have to burn to get there. We're gonna get
I'm
you
gonna
there,
a
bro.
lot of edibles and weed to get over there.
You going, bro? You did. Hey, we went on a hike. That was the first step.
That
So
one.
next week, this was our first step in peering into Dr. Seuss's mind and soul. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed. If I ran the zoo next week, we are talking about the Gospel of Saint Thomas, which is part of what's called as the Gnostic Bibles that were eliminated from the actual Bible. The Gnostic Bibles are the mystic Bibles in the Bible, which include the
Is
book of Enoch.
that what it's called, nigga?
It's part of
Is that the official term, nigga? I don't think that's the.
yeah, it is GNOSTIC. Hey,
Hey, they all refer to them as apocryphal.
those are
Anybody has the
another
reviews?
word. It's another
Anybody has
word.
the reviews to
Synonym?
this?
It's another word.
Anybody, if anybody has the reviews,
Synonymous.
anybody has the reviews to this, just DM these to me. Anybody has any of the reviews, just DM the reviews.
Hey, as you go out, as we go out, and I want to make sure everybody gives Yusuf a round of applause for reading the first book that he has ever read in full.
Hey, Brooklyn, can we cue them claps? Wow.
Man, thank you. He is just like to read a Dr. Seuss book.
But on some real shit,
I'm
did you
proud.
actually
I'm
read? No, Yusuf, did you turn pages or did you do the audiobook?
You did the YouTube, didn't you?
You
Tell
did
the
a
truth.
YouTube video, didn't you?
You couldn't even read the
I
Dr.
watched
even
the
commit.
documentary.
A
I looked-
documentary.
There was a documentary on the book. If I ran the zoo, let's watch a documentary on that.
And the documentary is longer than the book, bro.
Right. You gonna watch a documentary on a 15-page book.
Yeah, they clapping hands. My Jameson, Ellie,
Oh,
they,
y'all all
that's for
clapping
you.
for me.
I am proud of
Ripple
you.
Molly said, "Wash hands."
Go Yui. Okay.
Jamaica Davis said, "Go Yui."
I appreciate
Jamaica,
y'all.
Papa, I do.
Yo,
So-
I'm gonna tell y'all, read that book for next week though. Gospel St. Thomas. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
for
It's
real.
incredible. It was written by allegedly Judas,
Mhm.
and that's why they removed it from the Bible. But you know, for me, I'm like, if the nigga that doubted the nigga Jesus the most, I want to hear what he had to say.
I do want to hear what Judas had to say.
Yeah. So read that book. It's not a long read. You can read it. You got a week. It's amazing.
You can catch us right here on the Lit Review Tuesdays, every Tuesday, 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST. And for all those around the rest of the world, I have no idea what time zone that is. We'll see y'all every week.
Peace, peace, peace.
Bless, bless.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank